big plays.
Tied up, splits the double with 8. She's going to get a shot off. He's got
Are you kidding me?
All right, guys, I am lucky enough to be here, joined with Emily Hawryschuk, part of the USA team who took home the first ever box championship over Canada. Emily, welcome to the pod. How are we doing?
Thank you. We're doing great. We're still very much on a high rush of adrenaline from the weekend, but I'm super excited to be on here with you.
You know what's funny about this? Even though I had nothing to do with any part of this, when you guys won it, it made my Sunday. And that's why I made that video. I was like, this is the most American I can feel right now when you guys won that game.
That video is amazing.
Let's go. So before we get going into that championship game, because I'm sure we could talk about that forever, I want to get into like the preparation of how all this came about. So have you ever even played box before?
I was lucky enough to have just a little bit of experience. I played for the first time in the fall of my freshman year at Syracuse. So having Gary Gate and Reggie Thorpe on staff, they obviously know the huge benefits of understanding and playing the box game. So they got everyone on the team equipment, and we played every fall ball. So I had like 6 years worth of a few weeks worth of experience. So compared to some of the other countries who we competed against, who have been playing this game for most of their lives, who had played box before they played field lacrosse, that experience is very minimal, but I was lucky enough to have a little bit before all of this started.
That's so crazy that you guys even had an opportunity to play box lacrosse before, because in my brain, I was like, there's no way a lot of girls have played box lacrosse. I know it's starting to slowly take off, but I didn't think you guys had it growing up, especially like you're one of the younger girls on the team. So I can only imagine those older girls on the team probably never had that opportunity.
Yeah, and I think that's what's so unique about Team One and the team is there were girls who showed up to try out or to a player ID camp. They had no equipment. They borrowed equipment for the ID camp, and they stepped on the floor for the first time at a U.S. tryout, essentially. But I was super, super grateful and thankful to have had Reggie and Gary as my Syracuse coaches for most of my time there. So very thankful that I had a little bit of experience, because the second you play, you fall in love with the game. It's a different game of lacrosse, but it's one where the appreciation and the love of the game is like at a whole new level.
So you say you fall in love with it when you play. You're talking to a guy who's never played box lacrosse a day in his life, right?
You gotta play it.
Oh, man. I feel like I don't have the stick skills for it. I don't know.
Well, that's okay. You can be defense.
I might have to, but once somebody throws me up against that board, I'm going to have a problem with them.
Well, and that's the game. That's the fun of it.
That's the name of the game.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. You had that experience to playing box before, but I got to ask you now, what stick do you like more, a men's stick or a women's stick?
Oh, man. Well, I very much love my box stick. But I was one of the few who I had my box stick strung traditionally, which there might have been only one other traditional stick out there, but my field stick is strung traditionally too. So as long as I have a traditionally strung stick, then I'm happy.
Yeah, I saw that in the video that USA Lacrosse posted of you with your traditional stick, and I was like, really? A traditional stick? What is it about having a traditional stick that makes you feel comfortable with it?
I think I've played with one for so long. Going back to like my 9th grade, 10th grade year, that's when I started to buy the Syracuse sticks, and Gary obviously strung all of those. So I fell in love with it, and it was always like it's not broken, don't fix it kind of thing. So even when mesh was finally rolled out, and I stuck to what I loved, but I tried a few different mesh sticks in my box stick. And it just didn't feel the same. I think it has a different hold on the ball. So I had my uncle's childhood best friend who I've known as, my Uncle James, but he strung it up for me and I loved it. Loved it. The second I tried it out, I was done.
Maybe I might have to give traditional a shot again because
Mhm.
I can't tell you the last time I ever used a traditional stick. So
I don't
might
know.
have
I love it. I love the hold. I love the release of it. I'm a big
yeah,
fan.
I can imagine your teammates were just like, "What are you using
Yeah.
right now? What's good? All this new technology we have, and you're using a traditional stick." But
Mhm.
hey, if it ain't broken, don't fix it.
That's right.
Now, I'm looking at your flag behind you. If you see me, I'm trying to wear the most American stuff I have, but everything American I have is American club lacrosse. So I might have to get some U.S.
Yeah.
Women's lacrosse stuff.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
I think
Do,
we got to make that happen.
do they have a Hawryschuk jersey I could buy?
I think they actually on Common Fit put all the jerseys up there, which is pretty cool. And the jerseys itself, I mean, yes, we won gold, but I also think if there was a competition on jersey design, I think we might have won that too
Oh
with
yeah, your
having
jerseys were
those
hard.
replicas. Yeah.
Jersey. I had to double take looking at you guys playing box because it was just a little different watching you guys in equipment. Like no
Mhm.
goggles, no nothing, just
Mhm.
the equipment. And I was like, wait, is that Emily? Is that Allie? Is that Kayla? Like it just looked like a completely different game. But
Mhm.
it also showed a whole different side of you playing box. And I love it. I love it. I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
It's an amazing game. It's so much fun. But you see a different side of everyone because it's not the same rules.
Not the
Um,
same.
not the same, but like I said before, it's just a different level of energy and appreciation when playing it. Like it's so much fun. It's truly so much fun.
So box lacrosse brings in a lot of aggressiveness, and I was looking at the box lacrosse training videos before, and I'm watching you guys train, and I was like, "Hold up, are they training against boys teams right now or men's teams?" You guys were training against men's teams
Yep. Yep.
because I'm like, I'm pretty sure these men's teams have asked me to play for them before, and I'm like, wait, they're training against the best of the best women right now.
Mhm. Yeah. So that was that preparation and that training and that almost like accelerated path of everything because from the start we were playing catch up against
Hmm.
the Canada, against teams like Haudenosaunee who has I mean that's been their game for forever. So we our coaching staff took a very unique approach to everything. Um, I have never had a coaching staff like Coach Cap, Coach Tony, Coach Christie, Coach Wheeler, but they were some of the best coaches I've ever had. And I thought the purpose and intention behind everything that they did from the very beginning, without a doubt, was a huge reason why we won on Sunday. So the first player ID camp that I showed up to in Utica way back in end of May 2023, there were guys there. So at first it was like, oh, maybe it's just because there's only 15, 20 of us here and they're just here to help out. But every single camp after that, we expected to scrimmage and play a predominantly male team. There might have been one or two females on there, but um, that was what we expected. And then we took a pause during the college season, so we did a lot of virtual Zooms and stuff like that just to stay connected and to continue to build a team, which was also very unique about Team One, which it was yes a U.S. national team, but we truly felt like we were a team that had built culture, that had built all of these foundations from nothing before. So that was a very cool experience to be a part of. But come end of June, we signed up in an all guy tournament in Yonkers, and we ended up going 2-2, which was
Okay.
huge. So that was like our first Team One win was back in Yonkers at the end of June. Um, but that confidence and you know in those games that we won, there were times where we were bad. We were down, 8-1 at halftime at one point against guys like that. So it was, like I said, the purpose and intention to the coaches and their coaching and their planning. We thought back to that game throughout the tournament in Utica. So although it was very tough and although they hit pretty hard, it was definitely something that benefited us. Absolutely.
I love that. I love that you guys were playing against men. I mean, you see a lot of big time Division I basketball teams doing that, right? Division I women's basketball team just having the men's practice team, and I think it is very advantageous. And as you guys just proved, it's a great way to start you guys off. You guys were started light years behind the Haudenosaunee and Canadian team. You guys got to put the pedal to the metal, and that's probably
Mhm.
such a great way to start them off.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
Now, so how far in advance did all the tryouts and everything go for being on this box team?
So thinking back to it, you can really count everything out down to the hours, which is even more crazy that you can tally the amount of hours that Team One had racked up prior to Utica. But there's a series of 3-player ID camps, which was not a traditional or common thing that US lacrosse does as it relates to tryouts, where it was you sign up, you pay $50, and it was they're just identifying players who are interested in box lacrosse. So there's 3 of those over the course of the summer of 2023. One happened in Utica, which there was, like I said, maybe 20, 25 of us there who had showed up. The next was at Voorhees, and the last one was at Troy. And then from there, they selected a training team, which would compete in 2 training camps, one in November, one in December. And then they cut that training team down again a little bit more, which next came the Yonkers tournament, cut down again to one more time in Utica before they made the final compete team. And that final team that you saw on the floor over the weekend, we only had one training camp together in Baltimore. So a handful of training camps, but that was what it looked like.
Well, the process clearly worked because that's a pretty cutthroat process like that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's ridiculous, but awesome. So tournament was in Utica. I thought about going. I know I couldn't make it. I actually had to die and run a half marathon.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Nah, don't congratulate me. I'm never gonna do it again. Probably not. I don't know. I don't know. But I was in pain. But I really wanted to head up to Utica and check it out. I know it's upstate. Utica, not too far from you, right?
No, it's not. It's pretty close to home.
Awesome. You see, I feel like that helped you out because you're a big family person. I know you're a big family person.
Yes,
So you're
you're 100% right. Yeah, so it's only about less than 2 hours from my house.
okay.
So I was very, very lucky. I had my entire family come. My grandpa, I don't think he missed a game. He was loving box lacrosse. I had, my uncle and my aunt and my little cousins. Like, it was at one point I had quite a big crowd, just all family. But it was also very, very fun to have the girls who I coach with 51 Stars Lacrosse come out. And then for that final gold medal match on Sunday, I had a good contingent of my RIT girls come out to support too. So I felt so lucky to have so much support. And although it was in little old Utica's pretty close to home for me. So I felt very lucky to be just a short trip down the thruway.
You got home field advantage at a national
Mhm.
tournament. That is awesome. And just going off your point about your RIT girls being there, I know you made the change to RIT. When was it? This year?
I'm going into season 2 with them. Yeah.
Season 2. You're in your glory days of coaching because I'm not. I'm out, sadly. But
No.
yeah, I'm old now. I'm getting up there. That's a sad part to notice, right? But you're in your glory days of coaching where your players can watch you play and be like, oh, shoot, coach is a baller. And, I think it just also takes on a whole nother level of respect that these kids give you. And they notice how lucky they are to have a coach like you. I'm so envious of you right now.
I'm really lucky to coach, whether it's the younger girls or my RIT girls. We had 6 a.m. practice, yesterday. So I showed up for the first time and I walk in the office and there's, a gold tablecloth on my desk with little trophies and, balloons and they wrote, all the players wrote a very nice big poster to me. So very, very lucky to coach that group of girls, but it was very cool to see them get so excited when talking about watching the game or being there in the atmosphere of the arena. So many of them said, I've never been to a lacrosse game like that. It was one of the coolest experiences that they've had as a spectator in the stands. So super cool to also see how that game is impacting them just by watching it.
So watching the game online, I saw how hyped the crowd got. And seeing that and seeing it indoor, it magnifies that experience 100 times. And just watching that game was something, I think, the type of energy you guys been deserving for so long. And I'm glad you guys finally got it. But I'm going to hold off on the championship game for a second, okay? Now, your first game was against, who was it against? It was against the Netherlands, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. Statement game. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go off about the scores or anything. But what were the pregame jitters like? Okay, now what were the pregame jitters about? Like, now stuff matters.
It was more so along the lines of our time is finally here. Like the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of days that we had been counting, which the coaches had a countdown. So every email we received, any notification we received, we were reminded of the countdown leading up to that game. So come Friday against the Netherlands, it was our time is finally here. The day that we have been dreaming of is finally here, and all of that hard work and preparation, and it's all realized now. But now is the time where it's just one game at a time, getting to the spot that we expected to be, which was in that gold medal match against Canada. But coming out, it was electric. It was the first time that a lot of people saw the U.S. women's box lacrosse team. We had actually had quite a few teams just try to, sneak in and watch our practices because we were there for a good 3 or 4 days leading up to that game. Mm-hmm. And like I said, the coaches and the purpose and the intention to everything that they did, we didn't have any training camps streamed or, any games where you could watch us prior to. So that was also the first time that the world saw us, which was also very exciting. So although the jitters were high, it was also a relief knowing that our time is now.
So people were able to step into your practices and just be like, let me watch.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What?
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to say anything to them? I don't know. I wouldn't have been able to keep my mouth shut right there.
Yeah, it was, but it goes back to everyone wants to see what we were about. So yeah. It was nice to be unleashed that night.
Yeah, you guys made a statement, to say the least. Mm-hmm. Made a hell of a statement. You made a statement. 2 goals, 1 assist that game. Big time. Now, I watched you shoot the ball. Listen, it was so obvious you were going to be a problem on the offensive end, just watching you play at Syracuse. But watching you with a guy's stick shoot the ball, it's like kind of a cheat code.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I bet. I bet you feel this way.
It's a lot of fun. But I mean, there's the game, the translation of field to box is totally different than box to field, where there's not as much crossover when you go from the field game to the box game. So having such a different viewpoint of the game, a different, IQ level, but it also totally increases the range of shots that you're actually capable of taking in the box game. There's no shooting space, obviously. You're trying to purposely shoot around people, and obviously on a goal that's tiny with a massive goalie in it. Mm-hmm. But it's so much fun. But to be out there with all of the stars that made up Team One, so on the offensive end, having all of the whether it be Charlotte or Allie, or, on the left side, you had Erin Bakes, who just absolutely crushed the box game. To be out there with so many amazing players who dominate the field game. And then you can clearly see put in the hard work and effort to now become box players. It made it so easy to go out there and just play.
So you're saying that the transition from field to box is better than the transition from box to field?
Opposite.
Or opposite, box to field is better than
Easier
field to box.
than field to box, yes.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Mhm.
I feel like guys say the opposite of that, or
Yeah,
maybe
I
it's
don't
because
know.
I'm from the East Coast.
It was a transition for sure.
Yeah,
Obviously, and I think men it might be different because they don't have to deal with the equipment aspect of everything, and obviously the stick change and all that kind of stuff. But it was very, very cool to learn all of the systems and strategy of the game within the box game, which is very different than field. Now there might be more similarities box to like a sixes style of playing game, but the traditional field lacrosse game, I think it's pretty different from
you know,
the
I
box game.
like that point about box to field. I think it adds a whole bunch of creativity. I remember I was having this conversation for a second with Ali Mastriani. I think it gives you guys a lot more creativity with your stick, and you get to see things from a different angle when you guys are playing box. And
Mhm,
I you're starting to see it in the youth circuit that now more girls are starting to play box, probably for that reason.
mhm.
So I
The
do think,
benefits of it is
yeah.
yes, yes.
I mean, I like box lacrosse because for women, especially because I think it allows for men or boys to look at it the same way we look at boys box lacrosse, because it's not different. It's the same thing rather than outdoor girls lacrosse and guys lacrosse, right?
Mhm,
So I do think it puts us all on an equal platform. Hence why you guys got a whole lot of eyes on you guys this previous weekend.
mhm. Yeah.
Um, so um, so let's. I know there you have so many other games, but you guys essentially did damage. Did damage. So the writing was on the wall for who was going to be in the championship game, and you mentioned it earlier. You guys were like USA versus Canada.
Mhm,
Now the whole weekend they're like nobody scored on Canada yet. USA has been scored on 3 times this whole weekend. Like, yeah, no crap. These are going to be the top 2 teams in the tournament. So, what were you guys thinking that Sunday morning when you were like, yo, it's time for Canada?
the amount of excitement was out of control. It was obviously a very special day. It was a very emotional day because it was one thing to show up and perform the way that we did through pool play, through the quarters and the semis, but now we got to the point that we said for these hundreds of days that we would get to. So now we were there. But at the same time, we had never matched up with Canada before. We obviously had the film and we watched their games from the rest of the tournament, but they didn't actually see a lot of shots. So as far as the preparation on our end went, we did a lot of visualizing. We did a lot of visualizing of us just doing our job and doing execution of the game plan at our highest level. And really, although we knew and understood that Canada was going to be an incredibly hard opponent and it was going to be a battle from start to finish, and we signed up for that. At the same time, we knew that if we just did our job and played for each other and played at that high USA level for the entire duration of the game, that we would come out with the outcome that we wanted. So, although it was something that we knew Canada was going to be that team, it was almost like all of the hundreds of days worth of visualizing and seeing that we saw ourselves in the moments that happened. So even in that game where, we might have gone down by a couple goals, the belief and certainty from the entire team remained so high that we just continued to chip and do our job.
Emily, you got me ready to run through a wall right now. I'm ready to rock. Let's go. That's hype. That's hype. So give me a like a visual of the locker room. Like which players are, headphones, head down, right? Vibing, and which players are like banging on their chest, banging the locker. Like who's who in the locker room? Who's like a character in the locker room?
We had a couple characters in the locker room. We had one of the youngest players on the team, CC Webb. She brought a great amount of energy. She's only a sophomore at Virginia. But there's a lot of people up and dancing. Sam Swart, Aaron Bakes, they got a lot of really good energy, a lot of good movement and dancing right before. But there's also quite a few in the locker room that are just very, chill and very focused. Melissa Scanoni was my locker buddy, so she was very dialed in. She might, sing a few songs, but other than that, very, very focused. I spent most of that pregame out in the hallway. I was out there doing wall ball with Cookie Carr, so it was very cool to see a lot of the different pregame rituals from everyone. Molly Garrett was walking around with a very, very straight face that entire time.
Oh, yeah.
But very, very cool to be a part of that. But at the same time, there's so much energy that we knew that we were about to go into battle. So that game especially, it might have been a little bit more quiet than normal in that pregame, but it was a tremendous amount of, focus and just overall anticipation of, the battle that we were about to walk into.
Now, the last time we talked, we were talking about your By the Pros game and everything, and I asked you what your pregame song was. It was that metal song. All right. What was that metal song called again?
The Shinedown song?
It might have been the Shinedown song. I know it was some crazy hard metal song.
I think it was my old Syracuse Gold song.
Yeah. I think it was because you were like, yeah, this is what I listen to. And I was like, metal?
Yeah.
Like I remember saying I listen to all types of music, and you're like, yeah, I like to listen to metal.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, I never listened to that before. But yeah, you might have to give me the Hawryschuk pregame warm up, and then I might listen to it before I go to the gym.
Mm-hmm. A lot of Shinedown, a lot of Disturb, 5 Finger Death Punch, all that kind of stuff.
Oh man. I mean, I can imagine just me jamming out to that, make me just get into the zone, So, guys, if you want to play like Emily, just make sure you listen to some metal before your game. Okay, that's all it takes. That's all it takes. You got Spotify or iTunes?
Spotify.
Oh, we got it right over here. Let's go. Let's go. I probably would have hung up if you were like iTunes. But okay, good. You got Spotify. Back to the game we go. So game starts up and you guys score the first goal, right?
Allie Kennedy.
She's got wheels.
She does.
And that goal, nice to set it off, but you guys knew that game was far from being over, especially when the game got to the fourth quarter, and the score was 7-5. Now this was it was kind of like a breakout. It was kind of like a moment where the game could go either way, right? If Canada scores right here, it's like, okay, this is going to be a tough one. Or if we score, we're still back in this game. So what was the team's energy like when you guys had a 2-goal, when you guys were down 2 goals?
It was calm, which was crazy to say, but I think that calmness went back to that certainty and belief that we were going to win. And this team, for so many different reasons, is so special to me. And I've never been a part of a team like this before, but I think that feeling of just absolute certainty, it made for a very calm and composed, timeout, bench break. But going into that fourth quarter, it was, we just have to continue to work. And, we never pulled back, but it was continuing to work, whether it was looking for the shots that we wanted to look for, Ingrid in the back of the net, continuing just to be an absolute brick wall and save anything that was thrown at her, the defense getting the stops. But I think a big story of that day was we trust our goalie, we trust our defense, and we trust that the offensive shots will fall. So going into that fourth quarter, it was continue to look for the right looks that we knew that were going to be created. And Livy ended up having a tremendous quarter, and she ended up putting 3 away for us then. But it was absolute certainty and confidence and belief that that team was going to pull through, and we did.
You brought it up earlier about chipping away, and that fourth quarter was the definition of chipping away, because we're talking about being down 5-7, but you guys end up winning the game 10-7. That's 5 goals in that little time right there, compared to the previous 3 quarters. Now we're talking, and that says a lot about your guys' character, just not hesitating about this. That's a easy situation for you guys to pack it in, but it's so awesome to watch you guys pull that out like in that fashion. What was the celebration like? Because you guys got, I know I've never won anything this big, but you tell me, because I'm trying to live vicariously through you right now. What was that celebration like?
It was like no other. I had never experienced anything like that before. When the final whistle blew and we all ran down, and there's, everyone's tackling Ingrid and big pile down there. I had tears, which I wasn't crying. I didn't mean to cry, but it was just so much joy and happiness that I think it didn't know where to go. So, I'm walking around just like tears flowing. But the amount of hugs and joy, and everyone's just saying, we did it, which we did. And we said that we were going to do it. So to celebrate on the field with everyone, to, have that lap as a team with the energy and the fans just roaring, it was a really special moment. And then to obviously go through the ceremony of receiving our medals was awesome. And to then hear anthem play with everyone swaying, American flags everywhere. It was a really very special moment. And then to finally receive the trophy, the smiles on everyone's faces were just everywhere. And then to hear that unwritten song was just, cherry on top of everything. The amount of energy in that room, in that entire arena, it was something like I've never experienced before.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think you guys not only will be etched in box lacrosse history, but I also feel like in lacrosse history, that's something that's going to be etched forever. This is one of those things where you're going to take advantage of, or where you're going to notice, and the further you get away from it, the bigger of a deal it's going to seem like. And people are going to bring this up for the rest of your life.
I hope so. I hope a lot of people remember this team, and I hope that this team leaves a legacy that really does last for that long. But it was very, with high emotions in the locker room afterwards. It was really special to hear the coaching staff talk about the impact that this team will have on us, not necessarily in lacrosse, but just in life, where, like I said before, this team is such a special team. Everyone a part of it, from the coaches to the staff to obviously the players. It's such an incredibly special team. And I think you're right. I think this team and what we did is going to stay with us for a very, very long time.
Yeah, it should be, and it will be. So after the game, you guys celebrate, have a good time. What are we doing? What are we doing when we just realize we're the best in the world? What are we doing after the game?
We're having a lot of fun.
We're just going to leave it at having a lot of fun.
We're having a lot of fun. The locker room was a party, an immediate party. And it was really special to celebrate. And, we had the portraits with the trophy downstairs. We had the family and everyone right there. But at the same time, we win gold, and now we have an opportunity to sit in the stands and watch our men's team compete for that gold medal too. So overall, it was a party that went on, all night long. Those medals stayed around our necks, and they're pretty heavy. So by the end, we, a little sore, but it was awesome.
Good. You guys deserve it. If the men's team had won that game, if the men's team had won that game, it would have been an American holiday.
Yes.
I would have drove out to Utica and been like, let's go. American flag overalls on. That's it. Right.
Mhm.
But thank God well, not thank God, but too bad they didn't, because I'm sure the whole world wanted to see me in American flag overalls. So
Yeah.
that could have been something awesome to do. Now, what are we doing with the medal? I'm surprised you're not wearing it. What is going on here?
The medal, I'm afraid to put it down. So it is always in my bag, but it's been very cool to, to go and continue to coach, and all of the girls are asking for it, and, to see their faces when they see it. It is so inspiring to see, because you can see the dream that they have in their eyes, which is awesome. But the medal is pretty cool. It is a heavy one.
Yeah, I bet it is heavy. I don't know. I don't rock jewelry, but I saw the way you guys were holding it. I'm like, yeah, some bicep veins are popping out while you guys are holding it.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely not a light one. I'm surprised you're not wearing it around your neck. I'd be wearing it the whole time.
I know. It's special. That's for sure.
That's awesome. Well, I'm so happy you even had the time to keep up or to meet with me today. Also, how's your little brother?
My little brother, he's doing good. He's gearing up for a showcase this weekend, so it's really exciting to see him getting ready for his recruiting year. So him being in 2027. But he was there in Utica. He was there supporting. But I'm just excited to pay back all of the hours that he spent in the stands watching me. So I'm excited to see, where his journey takes him. But he is one mean defender, very mean defender. But I love watching him play. He's a beast.
Looks like it runs in the genes. It's so funny how small the lacrosse world is, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was me. I posted a video of me shooting with some random little kids. This was probably 2 years ago. And come to find out, it was your brother after the fact.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, even earlier today, we ate dinner together. I'm like, all right, Mason, I gotta run upstairs. And he's like, well, what are you doing? And he's like, well, I got a call with Scotty. He goes, what? Last guy, Scotty? Oh my goodness. So he's a big fan of yours. But yeah, I still can't believe he didn't, say, hey.
Kids are a little weird with being a teacher and being around kids all the time. They're awkward. So it is what it is. Next time. And I'm already looking forward to the next time I see you. We're always crossing paths in the summer. Yes. So I can't wait to see you. But Emily, thanks so much for jumping on today. I appreciate it. It means the world. And congratulations for your championship.
Thanks for having me, and thank you for all the support of Team One and women's box lacrosse. It's definitely here to stay.